everyone has just reoriented to a focus on profitable growth. I think for a while it was profitable, period, no growth, just like don't go out of business. I think now it's about profitable growth. And so again, our focus on the entire e-commerce flywheel, which is listings, ads, inventory, and pricing, that's the best way to optimize for incrementality gains.
Ben, what is the price-conscious splurger?
Yeah, great question, Cam. So it's this idea that we came up with that we feel like best represents most Gen Z and millennials today. And so the price-conscious splurger is someone who, due to very low unemployment rates, a lot of people have jobs, they've been able to see increases in their paycheck. And so they've got cash coming in, but at the same time, the interest rates are insane. So a lot of people wanted to buy a house, they wanted to buy a car. They look at these 8, 9% interest rates and thinking like, no way. And so they've got like this down payment saved up or for either a house or a car. And so they don't want to spend all of it, but they want to spend some of it. And so they are price conscious because they don't want to blow their whole savings. They still want to buy a house or a car someday. But they're also splurging because they know they're not buying that house or car right now. And so I think there's a moment right now while these interest rates are high, but unemployment is low, where a lot of Gen Z and millennials are wanting to do things that feel good, that excite them. We see this play out a lot in travel. The other areas we play out is in retail for things that are maybe nice to have, that they want to buy that nice stereo system for their house that maybe they weren't planning to, but they got the extra cash, and so they're splurging.
So this is an interesting difference in consumer behavior where we have traditionally maybe younger people, millennials that have a cash reserve.
Right.
Like you said, that they would be saving up for a house, but maybe they're more willing to buy some things because they are sitting on a cash reserve and they're not going to make a big purchase yet, like a home. What data do we have that led us to that conclusion, that shows, that kind of opened that door?
Yeah, that's great. So we have a couple data points. So one is we can see the ad spend and the sales from Prime Day last year to this year, from Big Deal Day last year to this year, and then the Walmart sales days last year to this year as well. And so we've seen in all of those sales days an increase in ad spend and an increase in sales. And so that means people are spending more. And then when we look at category level data, we see the categories in which they are spending more are these splurge categories. This would be like pet categories, electronics categories, or like what I would call like non-essential beauty products as well. So stuff you're not going to use every day, but maybe it's a splurge to get the nicer set of things. And so that's really the two combinations of factors as we see year over year increase in ad spend, year over year increase in sales, consumer spend, coupled with that category penetration in those splurgy categories is why we think this is the case. So based on the growth that we've seen over every single sales day this year, again, both Amazon and Walmart, is we really believe that the Cyber Monday is going to be the biggest Cyber Monday ever. We are predicting that a 45 to 55% increase year over year from last year. And so that is, again, based on the data we've seen so far to date this year. A, but then B, Amazon has also hired more seasonal workers than they ever have before. And if there's one thing Amazon does really well, it's demand forecasting, and they have to do it to keep their whole machine running. And so it looks like Amazon themselves also believe that there's going to be anywhere from a 30 to 60% increase in consumer spending for this Cyber Monday. So we're excited for Cyber Monday. Is it going to be spread out across all 11 days of Turkey 11? Like, I don't know, but I think all those 11 days is definitely going to be larger than the 11 days from last year.
Last question. Cyber Monday is really interesting. Our forecasting indicates all of that to happen. Really interesting shifts going on in consumer behavior, as well as people like Teikametrics adjusting to that consumer behavior and providing more solutions for brands and sellers, right? What do you see? What do you expect to happen in 2024? We're talking about macroeconomic factors here. We're talking about interesting shifts in all this behavior in brands and ad spend. What do you think is going to happen from the consumer side and from the Teikametrics side?
Yeah, it's hard. You're like asking me to look into the crystal ball, and the feds can't even do it.
You can't use our predictive AI for that?
No, not for global macroeconomics. I think it's a really tough question. I mean, and part of this goes down to like personality types, right? I'm an optimistic person. And so I think, some of these global wars are going to come to an end. I think some of the anxiety around inflation is going to decrease. And I think people are just they're like, we get it. The rates are high. We're going to stop spending in these areas. And I think over time, the feds are going to decrease the rates. And so I'm most bullish about the back half of 2024, like let's call it July through December. I think the Feds are going to stop raising rates. There starts to be a decline in rates. I think that's just going to trigger the economy to come back. So if you think about it, we never really had like a recession. We kind of just like plateaued out, which is a major kudos to our Fed department and the U.S. Economic policy. So I think we've done a good job there. But I think the economy has plateaued and we're ready to get back into a growth mode. So I think all signs point to that back half of next year.
What is Teikametrics planning to release in 2024 to help sellers, advertisers, brands stay ahead of the game?
Yeah, that's great. So I think a lot of focus is going to be still on driving those profitable ads, because I do think that the world has changed and that this insane growth that we saw at the start of the pandemic and through the pandemic, that was probably like a once in a lifetime scenario. You know, we're all getting cash from the government. We all have this extra money to spend. It was a very competitive job market. Everyone was getting raises. And so I just don't think we're ever going to see anything like that again. So I think that insane boom won't happen. I think everyone has just reoriented to a focus on profitable growth. I think for a while it was profitable, period, no growth, just like don't go out of business. I think now it's about profitable growth. And so again, our focus on the entire e-commerce flywheel, which is listings, ads, inventory, and pricing, that's the best way to optimize for incrementality gains and for efficiency, is to really optimize all four things all at the same time, all together, so that when you're boosting traffic to go to your PDP, you know it's going to convert because you've got the right content, you've got the right price, and you've got the inventory in stock to deliver on that. So I think that whole flywheel is going to be so much more important as people reorient towards profitable growth.
It's a good tie-in with Flywheel. Well, a lot's changed a year ago to today, and a lot's going to change today to a year from now. But we know that Teikametrics is putting out some incredible things to address a lot of this consumer behavior shifting and to stay ahead of the game. So Ben, thank you.
Thank you, Cam.